December 21st, there is lots of hockey here tonight and lots of good hockey. So we'll break it all down, give out our best bets in each of those games that we do have best bets in, as well as try to answer some questions from the chat here throughout the course of the show here today. So if you do have those, you're watching live, please send those over in the chat as well. While you're at it, hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel. But before we can get into any of the games here today, I do need to remind people that this show is sponsored by BetStamp. The easiest way to improve as a sports bettor is by using multiple sports books and always getting the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like BetStamp to help you do so. BetStamp compares odds across every sports book, whether that's for games, futures, or player props. You can save time and money by checking BetStamp before you bet. So make sure to download the app today. It is available on iOS and Android, as well as on the web. And if you're looking to sign up for a new sportsbook account, please check out the offers available at betstamp.app/edgework. That's betstamp.app/edgework. This does help support the show if you sign up through that link. Enough of that. I mean, we go 0-1 yesterday on the games. There's not too much to recap there. Just quickly for people, there over the 3 games that were going on last night, we took the under 6.5 in the Winnipeg Detroit game. Obviously, that one finishes with 7, goes 5-2. So for the sake of this, we'll say we lost by the hook. We'll tout it as that. Lost by the hook in last night's game. Unfortunate, but you go 0-1. Not every day can be a winning day, but maybe this Thursday can be. So, Money, how's things going today?
Good, very good. Looking forward to the Canucks game tonight. I think it's going to be another test, and this team has been passing all of their tests, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, they've been an exciting team to watch. We talked a little bit about the Coach of the Year market, where that would be. I mean, Matt Russell had thrown out earlier in the season. Rick Talka would be a guy to take a look at. Obviously, with the start the Canucks had to the season, that was kind of fairly promising based on what Matt had thrown out there to us. Feels like he's in pretty good control of that market as it is right now. But yeah, this Canucks team has been very, very fun to watch. And Russ,
And
well, sorry, go ahead, somebody.
no, and I was just going to say, to be fair, it's not just the Coach of the Year market; it's all the markets. They're in contention
Oh,
for all of them.
yes, yes. Yeah, the Norris, the Vesna, the Hart, the Rocket. What,
The
what else are you
President's
guys in
Trophy,
contention? The President's Trophy, right there.
Stanley
Thank
Cup.
you.
It's it's
Yes.
it's it's all on the table.
Yeah. Russ, how are you doing this morning?
Great, man. Great. Another good slate of games on a Thursday. I think we got 12 games and we got plenty of bets. So yeah, it's always a good day.
Yes, we do have plenty of bets ahead of us here today. So if you're looking forward to the bets, if you enjoy the content here today, please make sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel. It does help support the show, help us continue to do this and bring you more winners. As you see, if you go over to our BetStamp account in the Find Better section, from last season into this season now here, up 48.6 units. I mean, that's obviously a season and almost a half here at this point, but a 3.9% ROI. And this is over the course of over 1,000 bets. So we're putting together a large sample size just this year alone, over 271 bets, a 7.3% ROI, 137, 132, and 2. So continue to put together some winning days here, and hopefully with 12 games on the schedule, that'll continue here tonight. But we'll start with some of the games that you guys have sent over. Let's first and foremost take a look at the Buffalo Sabres Toronto Maple Leafs game. Buffalo hosting the Maple Leafs tonight. You see Buffalo plus 127 right now. The Leafs minus 140. A total of 7. You see a juice to the under there, minus 123. If you're looking around at some of the 6.5s, you can get plus money on the under 6.5s. Russ, where do you kind of come in on this game here tonight?
Yep, it should be no surprise. We're going to take the over. Another Maple Leafs over. I think, they've hit the over in 5 straight games, and I think we've pretty much been on all of them. Again, I've talked about this before. If you can get that over 6.5 around minus 135, that's the way I would go. But if that's not available, which it looks like it's completely gone, I'm fine taking that over plus 114 at Bet Rivers. I think is a great price. All the way to plus 110 or so is a fine price for me. I've talked about this week in and week out with this Toronto team. I love playing this Toronto team over. They can just blow up. Each night they play, they could put up 5 goals fairly easily. And you're playing a Buffalo team who has terrible, terrible defense. So, I love this look. As I said, five straight overs for Toronto Maple Leafs, and the over has hit in 12 of 17 games between these two teams. So it seems like they just go up and down the ice. This is not a fairly complex handicap for me. I have this game over 7 a majority of the time. You're looking at two goalies who have basically struggled, for lack of a better term, and two defenses who are, just can't really stop anything. We've got, Buffalo is 30th in expected goals allowed on the year. And so I think Toronto can easily get to 4, maybe even 5 goals here, and just hope that Buffalo puts up a couple. So I'm happy to go over 7. I think you could see like a 4-4 game here, or even like a 5-3 game, and cash that over easily. So I'm happy to take over 7 at plus money. No surprise there.
All right, we'll lock that in. Over 7 plus 114. We're seeing a lot of those sevens out there over into the plus money. Around that range there as well. That is pretty widely available. So do lock that in. So, Money, any thoughts on the game in general or the total there?
You know that I want to look at betting against Toronto at this number, right? But I mean, that's obvious. But the thing is, I can't get there, and there is some narratives that does seep into my thought process here. This is a Buffalo team that just gave up 9 goals. It's bad enough to give up 9 goals, but they did it to Columbus, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that goes deeper than just a bad game for me, especially with the way that they've been playing subsequent to that game, right? So now you have a situation where I don't really know what the mindset of this Buffalo team is. Um, Besides the fact that, as Russ mentioned, they're very poor defensively, right? And it's something that they did stress coming into the season. They just can't get there, right? And if they can't get there with the way that they want to play, how can I bet on them, right? So that's the reason why, even though I do in raw numbers, I do get a slight edge on Buffalo, and like theoretically, it should be a play on Buffalo, but sometimes you just got to put the brakes on and just see that um, what we see at face value of this team right now, and it's a team that, quite frankly, looks like it's getting ready to get rid of their coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by all accounts, it should be done after the holidays. So, I mean, yeah, I would love to bet against Toronto here, but I'm not going to get there.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and as well with this like Leafs Sabres matchup, this is one where Buffalo seems to find a way to get up to play the
Yeah,
Leafs. The Leafs traditionally haven't done that, but then you're also looking at some of the factors with the Sabres team, like you just mentioned there, where you're kind of going, all right, maybe this is best to just pass on sides in this one. We'll just play the total with
Yeah.
Russ there. Take the over 7, get some goals, and who cares who wins here tonight? So lock in the first play of the game of the night. And that will be the over 7 plus 114 between the Sabres and the Leafs. Moving on to the next game here, we got the Tampa Bay Lightning hosting the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. Minus 109 for the Lightning, minus 101 for Vegas, and totals of 6.5 as it stands right now. A little bit more leaning towards the under 6.5 with that minus 109 out there on Pinnacle. So, Money, do you have any thoughts, whether it be side or total, in this game?
yeah. So I do like Vegas. However, um, this could be a situation where Tampa Bay gives Vasilevsky a night off. I know it's against Vegas, so I mean I'm not holding my breath on that, but he has played a lot of games in a row now. Um, it is a non-conference game. I mean, it is Vegas, so you know that they'll get up for it. But um, if it is Jonas Johansson, he's reverted back to our old friend Jonas Johansson, right? And we know what to expect from him, right? So I'm just waiting for confirmation. I actually thought that Tampa Bay would have already hit the ice for the morning skate. Doesn't look like they have. Vegas is going to go on in an hour, so maybe we won't see a morning skate from Tampa Bay at all. But yeah, I have to wait to see the goaltending. I do like Vegas with Vasilevsky as well, But if he is confirmed, then obviously Tampa Bay is going to take some money, especially because when you consider the goaltending mismatch, right? Vegas is going to go with Patera, who we don't have a large sample size on, right? Like from like what I've seen, I think it's been like 4 or 5 games in the NHL now, but like from what I see, he looks fine. Obviously, it's a downgrade. So Tampa Bay will take money once Vasilevsky if he's confirmed. If he's not confirmed, um, even in, even if we don't know what we're gonna get from Patera long term, and we can't really model him, we know what we're gonna get from Johansson, right? Or like we have a
Yeah.
reasonable expectation on that front. So that's the reason why I'm just waiting. If it is Johansson, I'll be rushing to bed. Vegas. If we have breaking news, I'm gonna stop everything, and we need to
Yeah.
just get on it right now. So let's see if we get any confirmation here.
All
Oh,
right. Well, Russ,
they
this
are
plays
on
in.
the. There's some news coming out, so
Okay.
I will. Sergachev is not going to play tonight.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm on it right now, you guys. I'm on it for us. Don't worry.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Okay. All right, well, Russ, why will you tell us what you're on here and whether or not so
Yeah.
money's information plays into your hands? Let us know what's going on here in this Vegas game and what are your thoughts on the total right now?
No, that's why I love doing this with So Money. He's always on top of the goaltenders. He knows way more than I do about who's starting in any given night. Even before I did this show, I would message So Money in his Discord group and be like, who do you think starting here? Who do you think starting here in your projections? And he does it better than anybody. But I think that was very well broken down. I was going to get into the weeds and some of this goalie stuff. And yeah, you should be seeing Patera here for Vegas with Thompson out. Maybe seeing Vasilevsky, but it could be Jonas Johansson. So I think this is an interesting handicap. But regardless of who is in net here, I like the over again between these two teams. Over 6.5 at that cheap -103, -105 I think is a fantastic price to play. Again, two of the best offensive teams in the league. You're talking about Vegas, who's first in expected goals, and Tampa Bay is sixth in expected goals. And they're kind of struggling on defense. Vegas is 19th in expected goals allowed, and Tampa Bay is 26th in expected goals allowed. This Vegas team is sort of the opposite of the last couple of years. In their last few games, seven of their last 7 games have gone over. And there you see Johansson, which I love this over even more if we get
No,
JJ
so
in net.
sorry to interrupt. So he's
You're
on
good.
for the optional, which makes me think that
Gotcha.
Vasilevsky is going to start.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, I would, you can kind of chill on this total. It might even dip down, like somebody said, with the side as Tampa Bay maybe takes some money. But yeah, I think this Vegas team has just been playing very very high event games. You look at some of their last scores is 5-4, 6-3, 6-3, and 7 games in a row have gone over the total. And then I do think regardless of who we get in net, there's been some shoddy goaltending on both sides. The last 15 games, Vegas is 15th in save percentage and Tampa Bay is 19th. So honestly, I think this should be another fun game, another high scoring game. And, hoping for like a 3-3 at the end of the regulation would be fantastic. So over 6.5 is the way I'm going to go. That's my favorite bet. I was certainly looking at Vegas earlier here. I just can't. I can't pull the trigger with Gigi Patera in net with such a low sample size. But like I said, regardless of who's in net, I think the over is a great play with just how these teams match up and how they both want to play offense first hockey basically.
All right. Well, over
Yeah,
six
and
and a half -103. That'll be another play locked in. So money.
yeah, and just to clarify, with it looking like now that Vasilevsky is going to start, I've got nothing here right now. So unless if Tampa Bay takes a significant amount of money again, and we get Vegas in the +107 +108 range, that's the only way I'll be getting involved in this on the side here.
Well, we
Yep.
got about this
Yeah. And
close
then
to having the 6.5, 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5, the overs there from So Money. We got real close, guys. All right. Well, there you go. We will recap all the picks at the very end of the show. So if you missed any from the beginning, don't worry. We will get to those as well. But if you're watching right now, just about over 50% of the people watching the stream have not liked the stream yet. So if you're watching and you haven't, I don't know what you're doing. Take 2 seconds, hit that like button, help support the show. Let's continue to move on here. We got a bunch of other games tonight and a bunch of other best bets from you guys that you're looking at. So first and foremost, let's head on over to St. Louis and Florida, where the Panthers are hosting the Blues tonight. Florida minus 197. You see the Blues plus 180 right now, and a total of 6.5. That one is juiced to the under, leaning that way as it is right now. Russ, when it comes to this St. Louis, Florida team right now, do you have any thoughts on a side or total here?
No, I mean this Blues team is very tricky to handicap, especially after the coaching change and just the last few games. Honestly, like each night, it seems like the variance in this team is so high. And again, in the same way with Bennington, man, this guy is seems like if I bet on him, he lets in 5 goals, and if I bet against him, he puts up a shutout. So no, I think this is fairly on market. For me, I have this right around minus 200 for Florida, and I think 6.5 is the right number. So nothing for me. I mean, I'll kick it to So Money. I know that he has a slight edge here.
Yeah, Florida's on their morning skate right now. Bobrovsky is going to be in net. Florida's the kind of team right now that they do profile as an under team, right? Sorry, I just got a little bit sidetracked here.
It's all good.
You're good.
Yeah, sorry. I was just looking at the Florida information coming in on their skate. Lundell, Gadjevich, both out. Doesn't matter. Yeah. So Bobrovsky and Ned. I am on the under here at 6.5. Florida does profile as an under team. They are very strong defensively. Yes, they can generate offense when they need to, but they're also playing a team in St. Louis that does want to play defensively, and that's kind of where they are in their sweet spot, where they are able to play a more defensive structure. That being said, they are coming off a game where they gave up 6 against Tampa Bay. It was a lot to do with Binnington being off. I would expect him to get the start, and I would expect him to not be as poor. And I do expect him to rebound a bit. So I do like the under 6.5. We're seeing, could we get up to minus 115? I mean, sorry, up to minus 120. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So under 6.5 up to minus 120. That was my end point there. So we can go ahead and lock that in. And Russ mentioned how tricky St. Louis is. I completely concur with that. It's a very difficult team to get a handle on. But what I do know, and where my edge comes in, is that they do want to play defensively, and Florida is okay playing that style. So at 6.5, that's kind of where my small edge comes in.
All right. So we'll lock that in. The under 6.5 there in the Florida game. Grab that one all the way up to minus 120. Let's move on here. We got other games, and let's talk about So Money's Vancouver Canucks. Russ, the Canucks are traveling to Dallas here tonight. Dallas minus 145. You see the Canucks plus 135, a total of 6.5 right now. You're getting some plus money on that over 6.5 as it stands. What are your thoughts on where this side and total is at right now?
Yeah, it looks like there's a rogue over 6.5 plus 115. So that's the way we're going to go. Lock that in right away. That seems like it's a little bit off market at Superbook. I don't know. Maybe I'm seeing something wrong here, but either way, plus money over 6.5 is the way I will look for sure. Okay. I think this will be a fantastic game. It should be a very fun game if we had Ottinger in net. Unfortunately, we will not get Ottinger in net. We will get Wedgwood, which just adds to my total here, my over 6.5. But yeah, this Dallas team is a sneaky over team. They have played some very, very high event games, 19 and 11 to the over. And Vancouver, they actually play pretty high event games as well, 19 and 12 and 2 to the over. But yeah, just looking at a couple of these metrics, both teams are fairly proficient on offense and kind of mediocre-ish on defense. There's you don't really see these games for Dallas, these 2-0 games, these 2-1 games for Dallas like you have the last couple of years. And I have no doubt that obviously, obviously Vancouver has the edge in net with Demko, and Wedgwood is considerably worse. But when you look at this Dallas offense going against Demko, I think that they can get some goals here. And then even on the opposite, with Vancouver going against Wedgwood, I think they could easily get to 3 goals here. So, and at plus money over 6.5 is the way I'm going to go. I sound like a broken record here, but my numbers have north of 7 on this game, and then you break it down a little bit, and that's the way I'm going to look. Dallas is 30th in save percentage in the last 15 games, so they're just not getting a ton in net, and they're scoring, at will. Like I said, they've had 7 straight over games in Dallas as well, so it's like these very high event 5-2, 5-3 games. So that's the way I'm going to look again at over 6.5. My numbers have closer to 7, even over 7. So I'm just going to play the edge there.
Well, we'll grab that over 6.5 plus 100. That is pretty widely available there across a lot of different books right now. So we'll track that as another play here. So, Money, why don't you talk to us about your Vancouver Canucks and this matchup ahead of them here tonight?
So look, situationally, it's not great, right? This team has played a lot of games in a small number of days here, and relatively, and there's a lot of travel involved as well. So ordinarily, this would be a game where, see, I'm getting so excited, my whole desk is shaking here. So this would be a game where the Canucks struggle, right? However, that was the old Canucks. These Canucks, they are in range. I will lock them in here. Um, Massive goaltending advantage, first of all, right? Like Demko, not only is he on his game, and he has been for the whole season, but we're finally in a situation where he's not being forced to carry the load, not only within the games, but also um, they're fine getting Casey DeSmith in net. He's had a strong season too, right? So it is keeping Demko fresh within the games. He's no longer facing 40 shots every night, right? So he is able to be what to reach his full potential here without being worn down. So we have a massive goaltending edge. Dallas is struggling defensively right now. As Russ mentioned, they are scoring goals, but it's also been um, against the caliber of goaltending that is nowhere near Demko, right? So now they have great shooting talent, great finishers, but they're stepping up in the quality of goaltending here, right? So we'll lock in the Canucks, um, and yeah, I. It doesn't matter what the Canucks were in the past. Like I've been stressing this all season, we're not we're probably not going to win we are probably not going to win the cup, but they're not going anywhere, right?
Yeah.
And this is a team that even in these difficult spots they've shown all season, they are able to clamp it down when they need to. They are able to get the big goals when they need to, and when they are struggling to find their legs, we have Demko who is able to keep them in the games, right? So sometimes, and I can see it in this game, that Canucks might have trouble early on with their legs, but as long as Demko keeps them in, this is a team that can win any game right now. And by the way, they're second in the league right now. We're December 21st, and the Canucks are number 2 in the league right now.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. These
Yeah.
Canucks are different. Jeremy nailed it.
Yeah, it's interesting just to see the continued disrespect that odds makers are giving them. I was very surprised to see a plus 130 and even a plus 135 on this number. It seems like just outrageous disrespect. The Canucks are not getting any respect, and they just keep winning 6-1 in their last 7. So I think, I completely agree here. And just to address a couple of the comments in the chat, first period overs for Dallas, a great look. Alex has hit on that on every one of his shows. I think I'm not going to steal anything from him, but that's a great look as well if you can get 1.5. And then RW fan says, wait for Demko confirmation. I think that's probably already baked in the line since we had Casey DeSmith last game. We're almost for sure going to get Demko here. So, I honestly, I mean, you could wait just because it looks like it's trending down, and I have no problem going against the market in that. It happens to me all the time. But yes, I think, you could wait and let it trickle down a little more before you hit the over. But I completely agree with everything so many said. It seems like this should be priced closer to maybe minus $120, but with Wedgwood and net, it seems like a weird price to me.
All right, two best bets in that Vancouver game there. We'll block both of those in, the over 6.5 plus 100, as well as the Canucks money line plus 135 there, tracked here on the show. A couple bets for So Money's Vancouver Canucks. So we're going to need the Canucks tonight. We're going to need the Canucks to score a lot of goals. But a game that feels like there hasn't been, or two teams, I guess, that feels like there hasn't been many goals. And it feels like there's not going to be too many goals here tonight, would be between the Minnesota Wild and the Montreal Canadiens. These two teams have been kind of sluggish teams in regards to the scoring aspect. We've seen So Money play some unders on these teams. We've seen Moretto playing unders. We've seen Russ play unders here. And we're getting an under 6, minus 105. Best price available on this game here tonight again, as well as Minnesota minus 194 hosting these Habs. So Money, what are your thoughts on this total? And are we going back to the under well here between these two teams?
We absolutely are. It's funny seeing like we see this all the time, right? Like whenever we have an edge that we feel that the market is not taken account for, which were Habs unders, then you slowly, game by game, you see the numbers adjust. I mean, we were getting 6.5 on Habs games for a good while there, right? Those don't exist anymore. We do have a 6 now. I still like it. A couple of reasons here. So Habs, I do have a little bit of a concern because even though overall they do profile as team, the last couple of games I'm seeing some slip ups here in their defensive play, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, they were playing above their expectation defensively, so we are seeing that trickle down a bit. But playing Minnesota though doesn't concern me. They're a team that has trouble generating offense for the most part, unless if they're playing Pittsburgh's defense, which I don't know what the Penguins were doing there, but there's no way that Minnesota should have gotten to 3 goals in that game. That's a different story. But yeah, so I do like the under. I'm back on it. Up to minus 115 at the 6, I think is that's where my stop point is going to be on this under. It will take more money throughout the day, and we will be betting that under.
Okay, there you go. So under 6 minus 105, we'll take that. Russ, what are your thoughts on this on the sides or totals here in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think the side is fine. This this Minnesota Wild team has just been playing great, and I completely agree with everything so many said. I would lean towards the under here as well. We have played a few Wild unders in the last month or so, and especially with this new coach Hines, it seems like they're straight up defensive first, and they're actually getting some much better goaltending. And like somebody said, the Wild play a ton of defense and can't really generate anything. So I agree here. I think this is a straightforward one. Wild have been first by a long shot in expected goals allowed over the last month. And then you look at expected goals for, and looking at like Wild that are 19th and the Canadians that are 21st in expected goals for. So I agree. I think this should be an underlook, and probably should be closer to 5.5 on the price. So yep, that's the way I would look too. Especially if you need 7 to lose this game. I would go under all the way.
And just to I think I'd be remiss not to mention this, but it is I am concerned about some defensive injuries that Minnesota has had too. Concerning, but again, you're matching that up against a Montreal team that has trouble for the most part generating offense anyways, right? So
right.
Minnesota mild. Yeah. So yeah. So that's
Yeah.
why even though I'm concerned about the defensive injuries, it's not to the point where it's going to prevent me from playing this under against a team that does have who I feel will have trouble taking advantage of that situation.
Right. The other question here that was in the chat was Mike Bromberg. I think Jordan kind of came in and answered it after, but Mike
Yeah.
asked, even with Montembeau in goal, I'll let you guys
Yeah.
speak to that in terms of
Yeah.
playing this under.
I like him. I think
Yeah.
that yeah, yeah. I think he's been good this year. I think he's the kid's come a long way, right? He's really worked on his game, and I mean where he was like even last year. I think he's the 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 kid's doing well. I have no problem with his game, and I have no problem playing his unders when he's in net.
Yeah,
So there you
I
go.
completely agree. Yep, and yeah, just one last thing. Yeah, you look at the save percentage the last month or so, which is last 15 games. Wild second in save percentage, and Canadians fourth in save percentage. So their netminders are playing very well. It's mostly Montembeau. So I agree.
One final game here that we'll take a look at for our own best bets. We'll get back into any other games that you guys might be looking at throughout the remainder of the day after this one. But the final one would be a game that I was kind of looking at ahead of this and talking to you guys about. It's going to be interesting to watch because you're going to get a pissed off Colorado Avalanche team. We've got some interesting stuff going on within that locker room right now, whether it be from the Nichushkin stuff that happened earlier a couple weeks ago, and then now Devon Taves calling guys out. Either way, that's a good team who's going to be a little bit fiery here tonight against a Sens team that basically just had a pretty bad collapse against Arizona Coyotes the other night in front of their brand new coach. It'll be interesting to watch. Now you got the Colorado Avalanche minus 160 hosting the Sens here tonight, plus 144 for the Sens, and a total of 6.5 in this one. Russ, what are your thoughts on the side or total here?
Yeah, man, this Colorado team is frustrating. They have not been playing very well at all. But despite their play, they have been scoring quite a few goals. Honestly, over to Pitt in 4 of their last 6 games. And here you're getting an Ottawa team who profiles as an over team for me as well. So again, looking at the over 6.5, I'm not sure if we get Korpisalo or Forsberg in net for the Sens. Excuse me. But either way, I have north of 7 in my numbers. Both of these teams are over teams. Ottawa's 15-9-1 to the over, and Colorado's 18-14 to the over. And then combine that with no Cale Makar, which obviously he can score goals, but he's one of the best defensive players in the league. It seems like he's going to be out tonight. So I think this is going to be extremely high event game, high scoring game. As we saw last game, to much of our chagrin, the Ottawa Senators, can let in 3 or 4 goals in one period very easily. But, I don't want to talk about that too much. That was a brutal loss for me, and I think everybody else was on them also. That was absolutely awful. So that's the way I'm looking. Over 6.5. I think it should remain right around minus 110, minus 115. I probably wouldn't play it up any higher than that, but it doesn't look like it. I've been monitoring it all day. It doesn't look like it will move up any higher than that. Just as a side note, we've been playing over Mikko Rantanen's over shots on goal since that feud with Nushkin, and he's gone over in like 4 of the last 5 games. They're raising the prices a little bit, but still at like minus 125, over 3.5. I think you could put a half unit on that. He's just seems like he's determined to prove them wrong. Basically, he's had a couple of games with 9 shots, and this is a Ottawa team who's, let's see here, I have it written down. 19th in shots on goals in the last 15 games, 19th in shots on goals allowed. So don't play a ton of defense. We're getting 2 kind of average goaltender and 2 more better offenses. It can sound like a broken record, but this is over 6.5 for me again. I got to go with my numbers, and I think both these teams profile as over teams. So that's the way I'm going to go.
All right, 2 best bets there from Russ that he gets out. The over 6.5 and a little tidbit on the Rantanen and shots on goal. So a couple playable bets for tonight. So Money, before we move off of this game, anything for you here?
Yeah, I was on Ottawa in that game too against Arizona. It was frustrating. I actually watched that game too, and I thought that the 3-0 lead that Ottawa built was very deceiving. Arizona probably should have run them out of that building. I think that Ottawa, even after the coaching change, and even though they were up 3-0, they really were not in that game. I think Arizona took it to them, and which is a little bit surprising because I did expect a better effort from Ottawa. You could see the wave coming in the third period, and Corpusalo was standing on his head for a lot of that game, and I was kind of hoping that, just praying that Ottawa just like hangs on, but you could see the wave coming. Arizona had taken control of that game. So, um, and with that in mind, now you're stepping up against a Colorado team um, who I don't feel have been playing poorly that much, based on like the bar that we've set for Colorado. But they're not getting the results, right? And I think that this could be a situation where if Ottawa is not able to turn their game around defensively after a coaching change, and they're not able to kind of realize that what the way they need to play and what they need to do, um, what's going to change now against Colorado, right? So
Yeah.
I think that we need to keep those elements in mind, which is why I agree with the overlook. Um, in a different situation, if I felt that Ottawa was starting to kind of play better, I would have been inclined to take a look at Ottawa. I mean, I've made it no secret that I do get edges on Ottawa almost every game, right? But I'm not going to be getting involved here on this side.
All right. Well, there you go. That'll do for the games that we had best bets in. We will recap everything here at the very end before we get out of here. But there's a couple questions here before we can go. Jeremy asking, what would you play the over 3.5 shots on goal to there, Russ?
Yep, that's a good question because the numbers are all over the board. If you have Bet Rivers or DraftKings, it looks like minus 125 or minus 135. Those are great prices. I'd probably play this right up to minus 145, which is about a 60% implied odds. That's probably would stop there. Anywhere after that, you're not getting a ton of value. But like I said, he's had a couple of games where this number is close, but he's had a couple of games where he's soared over this total. And like I said again, that you're getting a matchup here, which sort of leans towards a high event game and a ton of shots on goal and a very very pissed off Abs team to be frank with you, especially after losing to a Blackhawks team who's terrible. So I think this Abs team will just come out firing, and Ottawa Senators are not going to be able to do anything on the back end to stop them. So I'd play right up around minus 140, minus 145. Like I said, 60% implied odds I think is a great price. And yeah, just like Insight's saying, there's all kinds of numbers on this, which the prop market is just all over the place. So definitely shop around. That's why you use BetStamp. But yeah, absolutely. I think Bet Rivers minus 125. Even DraftKings has a minus 135, which is usually available to everybody. I would lock that in right away. On the top line, he's just been playing angry these last few games, and that's a great look.
And then the other question here, because there's obviously some games we haven't got to. Mike
Yeah.
asking, nothing on Devils Oilers with Picard Schmid. Is there anything there that you guys are looking at in that Oilers Devils game here tonight?
So both of these teams, they are playing well. They haven't gotten the short-term results, right? Besides the Oilers game against Florida, I think they lost 5-4-1 or 5-1 or something. Besides that game, the Oilers have been playing very, very well. New Jersey has turned their play as well, but they've combined to lose the last 5 games, right? So um, I think that because both teams are trending up, you put a little bit of a premium on the Devils being at home, and you call it a day, right? So I think that that's where the line is right now. I do see Oilers taking some money in the marketplace, which is probably expected, but I think that where we are right now is where we are in the market right now is where we should be.
Yep,
All
I
right.
agree. I agree with the market move there. The Oilers at plus money is probably the way I would lean, but with Calvin Pickard in net, I just could not pull the trigger. And like somebody said, these are two buy-on teams for me. with their records, I think they should kind of both go on a run. You've seen the Devils play a lot better the last week or so, and the Oilers have been playing well for the last couple of weeks. So these are two teams where both buy on teams, and I think the price is about right. This should be a very fun game, but unfortunately, no play for me.
There are a few other games there that we haven't got to. So, Somani, I'll start with you first. Is there anything else for the rest of the day that you're looking at? You might want to play. You're waiting for news. You're waiting for market to get into range. What else is out there?
Yeah, unfortunately, Pittsburgh is starting to come into range here.
And
Obviously,
I knew it. I knew it was coming. I was going to ask you why you don't have a play on the pen.
yeah, the Carolina has taken money in the market.
Crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, couple of concerns here, obviously, right? Like Pittsburgh, we saw this against Minnesota. They're still a mess defensively, right? They still I I don't think Nedeljkovic played poorly in that game. He was he played to his expectation, right? Like he is what he is, right? And but to give up 3 goals against Minnesota in that situation, I thought was very telling to me. Carolina, tough team, right? They're obviously they should be favored. Um, I'm not fully there yet in terms of the edge I have on Pittsburgh, just because Carolina has shown recently that they are able to take advantage of poor defensive teams lately. So I think there's a lot of finishing that's happening in Carolina right now. So it's not something that I want to get in front of. So I'll probably end up passing. But of course, as usual, I'm getting an edge on Pittsburgh. So I'll stay away there. Other game, Arizona, San Jose, right? Again, I'm drawn to these kind of games, right? Like, yes, I do
You're a
get an edge
sicko
on
this
San
year,
Jose.
Somani.
Sorry?
You're a sicko this year.
Yeah. Like, yes, I do get an edge on San Jose, right? I think that's obvious. But um, Arizona, they're another team that I've mentioned that they're not going anywhere. They are the real deal in terms of battling for a wild card spot, and they are going to be there, just battling for it at the end of the season. Whereas San Jose, um, they do go have their ups and downs, but it's not a game I'll be involved in. But it's something to look at in terms of where the line goes, and then. Finally, the Washington Columbus game, another game where I was close. Ultimately, I'm going to pass because even though Washington is on a back to back, I'm not betting on Columbus, especially after this team had a outlier result where they scored 9 goals against. And I'm not getting involved with Washington, who I think stinks, right? And they're on a back to back, often overtime win. So um,
Right.
I was close on those games, but ultimately they all ended up in the trash bin.
Fair enough. Russ, any other games for you on the schedule that you haven't got to yet, but you might throughout the day?
Yep, of course. I do have an edge on the Penguins as well. This is a weird team, man. I like them a lot. I think they have a ton of talent, but yeah, their defense is terrible. Honestly, they're getting pretty good goaltending, and I think if we had Jari in net here, I might have made this a play or made this a half unit play, especially at -1 or +120 now. But Ned's is a little bit worse for me, and that's exactly why Carolina's taking a little bit of money. But then on the opposite side, Ketchikov is not good at all. He's played a little bit better the last few games, but he's considerably worse than anybody in net for the Pens. Carolina's 31st in save percentage the last 15 games, which tells me they've just been outscoring their problems basically. So honestly, that was one of my leans. I wanted to hear Somebody's breakdown on the Pens because usually we align there, but this is not a great spot to step in front of a Hurricanes team who's been playing really well. And then, of course, I like playing against this Coyotes team. That was one game I had circled as well. But San Jose, they were playing decent for a while there, and it seems like they've kind of gone back to their old form, losing. They've lost 4 of their last 5, and Arizona's been playing actually pretty well, winning 8 of 12. So I was hoping for a little bit better number on the Sharks, like closer to +150, close 155 or so. and we didn't get it. So that was a pass for me. Those two games were probably, maybe fifth and sixth on my list after, I just like those totals a lot more. I had a much bigger edge on those. So both those games are something that I will be monitoring. Maybe if we, get a little bit of a goalie change in Arizona, San Jose, like get Vejmelka in goal, I might have a play on the Sharks. But both those are a pass for me, and like I said, I have plenty of action on my overs, so we'll stick
Yeah.
with that.
All right, there you go. That'll do it for today's show, for today's best bets. In regards to what we have locked in on this massive slate here tonight, we'll go through that right now. Again, you can track all these over in the BetStamp app in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ if you want to see how we've done throughout the course of the season, how we do on a daily basis, weekly, whatever it is. But for today's bets, first and foremost, we're looking at the St. Louis Blues, Florida Panthers, under 6.5. Minus 110 there. Then we got the Leafs Sabres over 7 plus 114. Going to Vegas, Tampa over 6.5 minus 103. The Canucks money line plus 135. The Canucks Dallas over 6.5 plus 100. Then we got the Habs Wild under 6 minus 105. Then we're going to look at the Colorado Sens game. We got two best bets here. We're first and foremost taking Mikko Rantanen over 3.5 shots on goal, minus 125. That's for a half unit there. And then finally, the Sens Avalanche over 6.5, minus 115. Those are today's best bets. You can find those all in the BetStamp app in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ. And again, doing pretty well so far in the season and over the last year and a half, plus 48.6 units for this show. So continue to build that up. Let's have another winning day here today, gentlemen. But Russ, So Money, thank you guys very much for doing this here this morning. Happy holidays. Enjoy the next few days. I guess So Money, I'll see you back here tomorrow. But Russ, we won't see you until after the break, after some time off. So enjoy that. Thanks for doing that this morning. And to everyone in the chat, there's plenty of content coming up over the Hammer on for the rest of the day here over on Forward Progress, breaking things down for Market Watch, Survivor, player props for this coming weekend. Circles Off, new episode coming out there as well, and another episode of the Board NBA with Jacob Grimenia and Kirk Evans this afternoon, breaking down the market and the landscape of the NBA currently. So check out all that across the Hammer for the rest of the day, and then obviously to cap it all off, Thursday Night Football watch along. But thanks to everyone who tuned in here today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the Hammer shows throughout the rest of the day here as well. Enjoy the games tonight, and good luck on your bets.